Did she flip-flop? Let's find out what folks think. Joining us, Houston City Council member Mike Sullivan, red light camera opponent Michael Kubosh. Michaels, welcome to Houston's Morning News. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning, sir.
Good to be back on.
Listen, let me start with Council member Sullivan here. Mike, is the mayor just playing a political card here? I mean, just a weekend ago, she was telling everybody she was reluctantly going to turn off the cameras. Now it sounds like she's leading the parade here.
Well, I'm glad to see her come around and respect the will of the voters. It's very clear that a majority, and an overwhelming majority of Houstonians said on Election Day in November of 2010, which sounds so long ago, that we want the red light cameras off. I called for her to turn them off immediately. She did, and then, of course, the drama started after that. But I'm gonna give her credit this morning, and I mean it with all sincerity. I think the mayor is doing the right thing by putting this on City Council. I'm calling on my colleagues to vote for the resolution to turn the cameras off.
All right, very good. Mike Kubosh, let me ask you this. Politics? I smell a rat here. How about you?
Oh, yeah, this resolution is not binding. If she really was serious, she'd turn them off, or she would have an ordinance that would be a binding. This resolution is not binding. What she done this so that her attorney, city attorney, could notify ATS. ATS has now filed a TRO in federal court. This federal judge is going to grant this TRO, block the cameras again, and then the mayor's going to be able to come back and say, oh, see, I tried. But the truth of the matter is her heart is still wanting the money and wanting the cameras on. This is a political ploy. She's done her surveys and polls, and she's found out she's got only a 22% approval rating is what I was told. So she's going to be a one-termer. This will define her administration.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to hang on here. When we come back, I want to talk about that poll that Mike just alluded to here, Councilmember Sullivan, and find out if you know anything about that. And the other question I have is what happens if we don't get the money from the red light cameras here in the city of Houston? What ramifications will there be for the citizens of this city? We'll answer those questions coming up in just a moment.
The conversation continues on Houston's Morning News with Matt Patrick.
KTRH News Time is 6:22, and joining us, Houston City Council member Mike Sullivan, red light camera opponent Michael Kubosh. Mike Sullivan, let me start with you. Do you have any idea? Mr. Kubosh suggested there was a poll that the mayor had done where it shows her approval ratings are very, very low. You aware of that?
I'm not aware of it. Of course, we're in election time right now. People are filing for office. I know I filed for re-election last Monday, and it's no surprise that the polls are being taken. But in politics, there's an old saying, and that's that the only poll that counts is the one held on Election Day.
All right. Now, Mike, let me ask you this question as well, then we'll get to Mr. Kubosh. We don't have these red light cameras. We're going to have to fight this thing in court. That's going to cost money. You don't have the income coming in from the red light cameras. How does that affect the city of Houston?
Well, I'm not an attorney. We're going to have a very tough lawyer, one that stands his ground, that knows what he's doing, that can understand the law to represent us and get us either out of this contract or negotiate a fair and reasonable settlement. And we have to do it with the idea that the voters have spoken. I hate to keep coming back to that, but the voters have spoken. We have to respect the will of the voters. We can't do it when it's convenient or when it meets some other need or goal that we have. We have to respect the voters every single time there's an election. Actually, I've been besieged by emails, phone calls, and visits from people who are just incensed at the fact that these red light cameras still have not been turned off.
Right.
We hear over and over again from people who say, I even voted for the red light cameras to stay up, but I am just beside myself because you haven't turned them off.
All right. Mike Kubosh, to you, this is going to cost us a lot of money here in the city of Houston, plus you're not going to have the money coming in from the red light cameras. Can we find a lawyer that maybe will do this pro bono?
Well, you have to remember, we had already offered to do that. We tried to intervene, but the city attorney, who was in agreement with ATS's lawyer, didn't want to take our top dollar appellate lawyer to defend the city. We know they have a right to mitigate. This needs to be farmed out. This city attorney is inadequate. He cannot represent the city effectively. This was a bad choice by the mayor. He needs to go.
All right, very good. Hey, gentlemen, I want to let you know that we appreciate the fact you're both up early on this Monday morning, and we're going to get back to both of you, City Council Member Mike Sullivan, Red Light Camera Opponent Michael Kubosh. Thank you, gentlemen.